So, actors, writers of fiction, what do? One creates characters on screen or stage, the other creates characters on page. Both are acts of creativity and imagination. The actor isn't usually the person they are depicting. The fiction writer usually isn't writing verbatim about themselves or their lives, although they may be influenced by personal experiences. But in both cases, we are talking about people who must take something from within themselves and translate it either to stage or page. So should this process necessarily mean that the creator must have something in common with the created? Some apparently critical trait? If so, then what need imagination? But there is a trend afoot, often propagated by the likes of the BBC and the Guardian, and in social media, that this is exactly the case. If you are a white person, you shouldn't write about or depict black people. If you are an abled person, you shouldn't write about or depict an unabled person. If you are straight, you shouldn't write about or depict a gay person. If you aren't trans, you shouldn't write about or depict a trans person. So how far should we take this? You can't write about someone or something with which you don't have direct experience. Ultimately, this means you can only write about yourself. A man can't write about a woman about a man. Maybe humans shouldn't write about animals. Poor lassie. Our first example of stay in your laneism is this article in the BBC, Where Else? There is so much to discuss here, but I don't know where to begin. Includes the casual racism of the sort that the BBC loves so much, anti-white racism, but also stay in your laneism in a slightly subtle form, and we'll focus on that. We're so used to seeing black characters defined by white people, Viola Davis tells Radio 1 Newsbeat. Defined by. What does that mean? You mean depicted on page? Well, yes, that's what writers do. If they never depicted black people, you'd probably accuse them of racism. And when they're defined by white people, their voice gets taken away, their sexuality gets taken away. Viola. Have you ever heard of William Rose? To be honest, nor had I until researching this video, but I did know some of his work. Rose was an American-born screenwriter whose work includes, amongst others, the screenplay for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I'm sure you've seen it, Viola, or perhaps you haven't. If not, perhaps you should set aside some time and watch it. And remember, this film was released in 1967. I'd never heard of this actor until recently. Can't comment on his ability or his work. But Henry has one serious defect. He isn't deaf. And not being deaf naturally should eliminate him from taking any acting role depicting any deaf characters. Shouldn't it? Well, no, of course it shouldn't. That's fucking stupid. But not according to Jade Brown, as outlined in this BBC article and this tweet. There's so much stupidity here that it's hard to know where to begin. Or how about the withdrawal of Scarlett Johansson from the drama Rub and Tug after backlash from the trans community? In her words, in light of recent ethical questions raised surrounding my casting as Dante Tech Skill, I've decided to respectfully withdraw my participation in the project, Johansson said in a statement to Out magazine. Our cultural understanding of transgender people continues to advance, and I've learned a lot from the community since making my first statement about my casting and realised it was insensitive. Oh, grow some ladyballs, Johansson. I don't think anyone really believes you're a Russian super spy either. Creation is an act of imagination. No one has the right to tell others what they can and cannot portray, or writers what they can and cannot write about. This is really about power and control, and every time a writer or an actor surrenders to the mob, they cede a little bit of control to the squeaky wheels who squeak the loudest, while making the reasonable majority look like control freaks. So please stop. This is all very silly.